Hi, I'm Rick Richardson. Welcome back to the Salary Step Up series. This is step 18 in the series, and in this one we're going to be talking about increasing your value. Now, when we're talking about increasing your value, I want you to consider what you've done already and what you're going to do in the future. It's a continuous process, and what I want you to also keep in mind is that you need to be documenting this. So you're going to keep a proof of value file. Some people already have this, and they keep it in a resume form or a CV, but they also have a file that they keep their individual notes. Especially if you get an email or a letter of accomplishment and that your boss or someone else has recognized you for the work you've done. This can be also from civic organizations, anywhere that someone said, hey, good job, really appreciate it. Awards, trophies, anything like that. You want to keep a list of those and keep them around so that you can show that you have done these things. I personally am not somebody that keeps a lot of little trophy knickknacks and things like that around. It just isn't me, but it is important that I have something that says here on this date, these people recognized the work I did, so that I can show that to someone. It's not bragging if someone just says, show me the things that you've done for us. Many companies will not feel inclined to give you a pay raise above the standard cost of living increase unless you can prove to them that you have done something more than what was expected of you. If you're only performing the minimums, if you're only doing the least amount necessary to say that you get to keep your job, obviously it's going to be hard for you to say, hey, I want this big pay raise. But if you have been performing above and beyond, it's much easier for not only your employer to see that you deserve it, but also feel that it's expected that they are going to have to pay you more or they're going to lose you. So being able to show what you've done to your employer is important. Remember that your employer is a comparison shopper. This may sound a little crass because I'm going to talk about you as a commodity, but if you are a can of soup on the store shelf and the exact same can of soup with all the stuff that they like is right next to it for half price, they're going to buy the half price. You would do that when you're shopping. They're going to do that when they're shopping. What you do have in your advantage is most people don't like change, and your boss is probably no different, and so they would like to keep you there if you're doing a good job. If you can prove that you have been doing a good job and you can demonstrate that you're going to do more in the future, that's a good way to encourage your boss to pay you more now. When we're talking about increasing your value in the future, I want you to make sure that you're not over-promising and under-delivering. Now, if you do that, you're going to set yourself up for failure. In fact, you could end up in a situation where your boss is feeling like, well, hey, I gave you the pay raise last year because you said you were going to do this. You didn't do it. Now, am I supposed to take that back? If I was an employer, I would feel very uncomfortable with saying that, but it's going to be my expectation. So I would expect that you are going to want to make sure that the next time you meet with your boss, not only are they going to say, wow, you did a great job, we love that, and we know that you accomplished what you say you're going to accomplish, and here you are again telling me that you're going to do even more, and we fully expect that you're going to do that. Having that progression and being able to demonstrate it and fulfill that on a regular basis is going to give you a whole lot of value in the eyes of your employer. So when you're building this proof of value, what is it that you're going to put in there? What are the things that you've been doing that you can prove your value to date? And then what are the things that you want to do going into the future? Not everything has a dollar amount that you can directly link to it. That might be the case with some things. If, let's say you're in charge of some budget items and you can show that you found a better buy on some things, you replaced a particular product that you were using, you got a better deal with your vendors, you've made more sales, whatever it is. As you're increasing that value, some things are going to be really easy to prove. But what about the things that are less tangible? Let's say you found something where there was a wastefulness of the resources in the company, and you pointed that out and fixed that, and you've saved money, but how do you put a dollar amount on it? Just identifying those things and pointing them out oftentimes carries a lot of weight. if you can find numbers to link to that, it's really beneficial. So let me give you an example of if you did this in a setting where there was a potential for an injury. If you identified a spot where someone could be injured, whether it's an employee or a customer, and you took action and removed that threat of injury, you would be able to say, look, in most cases where this injury would have occurred, you would have had litigation, you would have had an issue with perception with the public, if it was a customer, other things like that. And you can find other cases like that online and say, this is how much this cost other companies, given these situations. I feel that I saved the company some money. Maybe I didn't save it directly, but indirectly, there is a problem that is not going to be a problem for this company because of my actions. Those types of things, in my opinion, warrant more than just a pat on the back and a good job. It's more along the lines of that you should be paid something for looking out for the company and demonstrating that your concern for the company goes beyond just receiving a paycheck and turning a blind eye to things that might add work. So when you find those things, and if you've done them, make sure you document them. In the future, as you find them and you identify them and you take care of them, keep the documentation that you find that you use to get the problem solved. So as you're solving the problem, you might have to say to the company, hey, look, if we spend this money and fix this now, we've avoided this problem. That's you getting the job done. Then hold on to that information to show that you also not only did that, fixed the problem, but that you've saved the money in the long run. Sometimes it's not just the money that you've saved the company, the money you've increased to the bottom line, the problems that you've avoided and problems that you've corrected. Sometimes it's more about the perception. I've seen some people that have done incredibly good work and hard workers, performance that is unquestionable, but they do it so subtly, so smoothly, without rocking the boat at all, that the problem is that their boss just assumes that the job is that easy. And when they go in and ask for the pay raise, the boss says, your job can't be that difficult. You don't cause any waves. So I'm not saying that you want to cause problems, but what I'm saying is you want to make sure that the perception of what you're doing is that it is good quality work, that you don't cause problems for the boss, that you avoid problems for the company, all of those things, but that the perception is that it's not easy, that it's something that you make look easy. If you never toot your own horn about this, if you don't make it clear that you are going above and beyond at times, that perception can be that it's just that easy of a job and you're going to be underappreciated, because that's the perception that they have, is that your work is just not as difficult, or it's just that easy for you, so why should they pay more? Another way to add value is education and skills. If you have added to your education, or you've picked up other skills and they are directly applied to your current job, or you can find a way to link them to your job, even if these skills and education are not required of your job, you should be able to get your boss to understand how that adds value to the company. So if you're doing a job that's unrelated to accounting, but you've taken a class on accounting and you have some credentials now, the ability to show the boss that, hey, my accounting skills actually help me in doing these other things. Maybe you're in sales, so then your accounting skills help you to point out to your prospects how your product helps in the accounting process within their company, or whatever it happens to be. You have to look for those links, but once you find them, you should be able to get your boss to pay you for those added skills and education. If it's a skill or something that's required for the job, it should be very easy for you to point out to your boss that you deserve that additional pay because of that. Now, another part of this is to have a can-do attitude. If you can always have the attitude of, I'm the one that can take care of this, you can rely on me, boss, let me into the game, coach, that kind of thing, it's going to go a long way. It will be something that will come to mind when you're asking for your pay raise, and that your boss is going to recall, hey, this guy is somebody I can rely on. This gal is someone who, whenever I give her a task, she does it. She does it with a smile. She makes people feel good that work with her. I don't get that grumbly, moany, whining attitude like I get from other employees. I get somebody that I like to work with. When that person is asking the boss for a raise, that person tends to find a much more receptive audience. Okay, so that's the big stuff in this step. Think about how you can increase your value, how you have in the past, and how you can do it in the future. Look for those opportunities. Take a little time every once in a while, even after you get done with this process. Keep that file that shows the proof of value. And as you move forward in your career, when you think of these things, you can help yourself in planning the next step in your career by looking and seeing, where are you best at finding and solving problems? And how do you feel that you would best be used by the company? That helps you in aligning yourself for the next promotion. So when you're ready, move on to the next step. And remember, I'm Rick Richardson. This is a Salary Step Up series. We'd love to have any of your comments. Look forward to seeing you in the next step. Thanks.